Hey guys, it's Troy Francis. Welcome to another video. So, in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down for you exactly what men don't understand about female selection. Okay. And we're also going to be talking about what being a high value man gets for you, and more importantly, what it doesn't get for you. Because this is a topic that is misunderstood so much in the manosphere and in the dating community. So I'm going to break it down very, very simply for you. And I'm going to give you some action steps later in the video for how you can use this information to your advantage. Okay. Again, listen carefully. And you may want to listen to this one a few times because this is super, super important stuff. Before we get into it, subscribe to the channel, give me a like, give me a comment below, and let's get into it. So, what men don't understand about female selection. So, the first thing that you need to know is that women have a dual mating strategy. Okay. That is to say that they are at different times in their lives or even just at different periods in their dating history, they're going to be looking for somewhat different things. Okay. Broadly, there are two different things that they're looking for. One of them is the guy who is the bad boy, the jerk, the charmer, the player, the exciting, risk taking, super hot Chad kind of dude. Okay, that's one thing. And then on the other side, she's also looking for maybe a different point in her life. She's also looking for the guy who's going to be the provider, the guy who's going to have the good job. He's going to be bringing in good money. He's going to be stable. He's going to be financially, good at planning, good at sort of organizing things. He's not going to be this sort of loose cannon who she's not going to be able to rely on. Okay, those two things, those two archetypes are somewhat opposed. Okay, and ideally, what the woman would do would be she would find a guy who has all of those things in that same guy. And those men do exist, but they're very rare. Okay. So there are men who are extremely high value. They've got the money, they've got the properties, they've got the assets, whatever it is. They're also decent looking, they're in good shape, they live exciting lifestyles, etc., etc., etc. But these men are the elite. Okay, these are what you would call the top, let's say 10%, but it's probably even lower than that, like the top 5%, top 1%, whatever, right, of these guys. Um, what the woman is so, but what often happens then as a result is that the woman will meet a guy who has some of these qualities, but he lacks the interpersonal qualities that are necessary to really get her excited. Okay. And what you always have to bear in mind about relationships, whether you're looking to be in a one night stand, whether you're looking for a casual relationship, or whether you're looking for something long term or even marriage, right? The bedrock of it always has to be attraction, or at the very least, there has to be attraction there at the start. Okay. And a lot of guys will come to content online and they'll listen to a lot of the self-development stuff, the self-help stuff, all of which is great. And they'll kind of have this very binary view of it, of like, okay, it's an algorithm. So 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 4. Simple. So all I need to do, I need to get down the gym, I need to get a good job, I need to earn a lot of money, and I need to get some nice clothes, and bang, the hot girl is going to fall into my lap and it's all going to be good. Okay. The problem is that that way of looking at it belies a fundamental misunderstanding of the way that women select, because those things, right, are attractive. And by the way, I'm not throwing shade at any of those things. It's good to do all of that stuff. In fact, you absolutely should be doing that stuff. But all of those things, while they might be attractive, they are not necessarily arousing. Okay. They're not in themselves necessarily arousing. And that is a problem. All right. Because if you are not viscerally getting her excited by your presence, by your vibe, by the way that she feels when you're with her, because emotion, super, super important, right? In terms of female selection, we'll come on to that in a second. Then you might have the other markers of high value man ness, right? You've got the six pack, you've got the money, you've got the great job. And then you get the girl, and you might get the girl for a period of time, okay, on the back of those attributes. But if you're not making her feel the right emotions, then the chances are that she is at some point just going to lose interest in you if she even selects you in the first place. And as I say, oftentimes she's not even going to give you a look in the first place because, as I've said before on live streams on the channel, what we're dealing with now is a deregulated dating marketplace. Okay. It's pretty much the Wild West out there as far as dating is concerned. Why is that? Well, we kind of know the reasons. It's basically because there is not really the same societal pressure that there once was to get married or to stay in long term relationships. Obviously, we have the effects of social media, the global dating marketplace. You know, she can get hit up by dudes in Miami or Dubai or whatever it is. Okay. There's all of these different things happening. And by the way, increasing exponentially as well. That's the other thing to bear in mind. None of this is going to get any easier anytime soon. Okay. And so there's no pressure on her. And plus, of course, as well, women are independent. They're living their own lives. They're educated. They have jobs. They can often be earning more than men and so on and so forth. So there's no pressure on her to just settle with some dude, okay, who happens to be ticking the boxes. Broadly speaking, you've got the provider stuff over here, which is the good job, the car, the nice clothes, the nice house, etc., etc. All great stuff. It's all attractive, right? She's going to look at that on paper and go, this dude seems like a decent prospect. You know, he's well put together. He can look after me. He can, you know, pay the mortgage, or if he's got a mortgage, or he can support me. Any children we have, it's all going to be good. So those things are attractive, sure, but are they arousing? Are they setting her world on fire? Okay. And in the initial period, as I say, because attraction is the most important thing, because attraction is the bedrock really of any relationship, then this is why we advise guys to go in with more of the lover archetype than the provider archetype. But in saying all of that, and this is another nuance to this. So what I mean by that, by the way, is you would go in and you would present as a man who is somewhat more of a risk taker, okay? Somewhat more unpredictable, okay? Somebody who is interesting, who is funny, who doesn't kowtow to authority, who has a degree of dominance about him, okay? Who has his own viewpoints and is not afraid to voice them. Somebody who's maybe sometimes a little bit disagreeable. He's not afraid to push back on her, okay? He's not afraid to set boundaries. He's not afraid to put rules in place and say, look, there are certain things that I will not tolerate. And if this happens, then I'm going to walk away and mean it. Okay. So that's the kind of energy that you want to be bringing in the initial period. Now, ideally, as I say, really what she's going to want is somebody with all of those things. But it's very, very hard for any guy to really be ticking all of the boxes. And most men, to be frank, don't. As I said, there's sort of some, very elite top 5, top 1% people who perhaps are, but for the most part, most guys aren't. Okay, there's going to be some sort of deficiency there. But the really important thing here, the key thing that I want you to take away from this video is that, and I've quoted this myself. Mark Manson has famously said, "The only real dating advice is self-improvement," and he's kind of right, and he's also kind of wrong. Okay, and the reason is this: self-improvement in itself is fantastic, okay? Yes, you wanna get in shape. Yes, you wanna be shredded. Yes, you wanna do some sort of combat sport. Yes, you want to earn good money. You wanna be passionate about your work. You want to be, you wanna have assets. You wanna have property. You wanna have investments. Yes, all of those things, 100% you should be doing, and they're great things for you to be doing. But in themselves, and that's all you could say self-improvement stuff, because it's like, well, I worked on myself and I got fit, or I worked on myself, I lost weight, or I worked on myself and I, worked really hard and I accrued these assets. Okay. It's all kind of self-improvement stuff. But again, in themselves, they're not necessarily going to set the woman's world on fire. They might get your foot in the door. Okay. You might get a date with her because she's like, oh, a friend of hers says, oh, I know this guy and he's got this property and he's got this business and he's doing really well. You guys should meet up. But the real litmus test is not going to be that. It's going to be what happens on the date. And when I say on the date, what I mean is it's going to be about the chemistry between the two of you that you generate. Okay. It's going to be about the feelings that you make her feel. That's what's really going to carry the day. Now, as I said before, of course, depending on the life stage that she is in and her requirements and what she's looking for at that particular time, and let's be let's be frank, if she's a little bit older, she's looking to settle down. She might think, okay, fine. Look, this dude, he's not the most charismatic guy in the world. He's a little bit boring. He's a little bit logical. He's a little bit linear. But you know what? He's in a good position in his life. He's going to be able to support me. He's going to look after me. So I'm going to let it ride. Okay. She might think that. And yes, you might get with her and you might be with her for a period of time. But the problem is if she lacks that visceral desire, that fundamental visceral arousal around you, that feeling of these things that women crave when they're with a masculine guy, right? That is that sense of dominance, that sense of him setting the rules, that sense of him being his own man and not being predictable and not being under her thumb. Okay. If you lack those things, then there is a decent chance that at some point she's either going to break up with you or she's going to cheat on you. Okay. With somebody who does demonstrate those qualities. And really the other side of it, which is okay, how do I get the kind of more exciting personality? How do I get the riz? How do I get, I mean, whatever you want to term it, but basically it's that interpersonal skill that you can develop that will draw her in and make her fascinated with you. Okay. And this is something that should be apparent from really the first meeting and certainly the first date. And that's what's going to draw her in, make her attracted to you, want to sleep with you, want to spend time with you. Okay. That should be the thing that you lead with. All right. That should absolutely be the thing that you lead with, even if you're watching this and you are a wealthy guy. And I know that there are wealthy guys who watch my stuff because you get in contact with me, we work together, etc., etc. Okay. And that's great. But what we always advise you guys is not to lead with that because, and it's not even so much people talk about gold diggers and it's this terrible problem of gold diggers. And yeah, that can be an issue. But a step down from that is you meet a woman who, yeah, she's not like some crazy gold digger who's demanding, Louis Vuitton handbags the whole time. But she's kind of there for the money more than she is for you. Okay. She's kind of there for the lifestyle more than she is for you. And in her soul, in the depths of her female psyche, does she really want to be there? If you lost everything, would she still be there? Does she feel that real burning desire for you? And if she doesn't, then even if you get her, ostensibly get her and you guys get married or whatever, is that really going to be the best outcome for your life? Is that really going to be? Because there's always going to be that sense. And as I say, the problem then, and this is why many marriages end, is because the woman actually wasn't with the right guy, or she was with the guy she thought was the right guy, but she wasn't with the guy that she was really viscerally in love with. She really viscerally felt that pull towards. Okay. So this is why you need to really work on that side of things, you need to work on the generating that energy when you are with her. So, with all of that being said, what are some action steps that you can take in order to try to cover off these different things? Well, the first thing that you should absolutely be doing is you should be working on all elements of yourself, right? You should be working on your fitness. You should be going to the gym, you should be training, whatever form of exercise you want to do, but you should absolutely be doing that. And probably you should be doing it every day, or at least most days of the week. You should also be working hard on your career. And to make money, absolutely. I mean, money, of course, makes a lot of things easier. So there's that, but also it's really helpful as well. If you're doing something that you love, if you're doing something that you're passionate about, okay, if you're doing something that you can attain mastery in, that in itself can be attractive. Okay, so you want to be looking at your life and thinking, well, am I doing the thing that I want to do first? Am I really, without getting too sort of Oprah Winfrey about it, am I really giving my ultimate gift to the world, or am I just sort of working a cubicle job to make some money and I haven't really stepped out of my comfort zone? So you want to look at that. And then you want to look at getting your money up because while money is not the only thing, as I say, it does certainly make things easier. And it means that you're going to be able to give the women around you more interesting, fun, cool experiences. And that counts for something, particularly now as the dating marketplace has got more transactional. And as a long-term prospect, it's going to stand you in good stead as well. Yeah, so fitness, health, obviously money, career, how you dress, how you groom yourself, how you present yourself, all of these different things you want to work on. But what you absolutely, and if it, just take one thing from this video, what you absolutely have to be aware of is that those things, as great as they are not necessarily going to get you to the finish line. Okay. And what is going to get you to the finish line is this somewhat intangible thing, which is interpersonal skills. We might call it game. We might, I mean, people used to talk about the pickup community. It's that toolkit. Okay. And that toolkit really is about having charisma in the moment and being able to create a connection with her, but a connection that is exciting and fun and thrilling and draws her in so that you're like a magnet for her. Okay. That's what you need to develop. And if you don't have that, and I've heard stories even this week, even in the last, few days, I've heard stories from women who've been with guys who are ticking all of the boxes on paper, but they don't have that element down. Okay. And in the end, they end up getting rid of the guy. Okay. It's a harsh world. And as I say, it comes down to really a fundamental misunderstanding from the male point of view. We just don't really get it. We think, okay, well, I've got a nice suit, I've got a good job, I've got a nice car parked outside, I got this, I got that. Where are the girls? Right? I've had clients say that to me. I've had clients say to me directly, listen, I'm in shape, I do jujitsu, I'm an investment banker, I do this, I do that. Where are all the women? Okay. And they've taken all of this advice. They've taken all this like chase excellence advice from the internet, from the manosphere. And they think that the women should just fall in their lap. What they're lacking is this huge component, arguably the most important component, which myself and James Tusk, when we've worked on the program that we do together, which is called The Edge, we've called Edge. You might call it X Factor, you might call it Riz, you might call it swag, whatever you want to call that thing. It's about creating chemistry. It's about being unpredictable. It's about being a risk taker. It's about being adventurous. It's about being somebody that she doesn't feel that she can quite control. Okay. It's about being maybe the bad boy a little bit. Certainly someone who's a little bit disagreeable, who's not just going to kowtow to everything. Somebody who has standards, somebody who has ideas of his own, somebody who has boundaries and rules and isn't afraid to set those. Okay. And is prepared to walk in the end. All right. You don't want to be the dude who she knows that whatever the hell, and listen, years back, I've been this dude, right? You don't want to be the dude who she knows that whatever she does, you're still going to be there, okay? That will erase all attraction from the equation, okay? You need to have this other quality to you, this other. We're going to be delving into it in more depth, or you get on my email list. If you want to get on my email list, just drop me an email, troy@realtroyfrancis.com. And there's still time at the moment to join our program, The Edge, or we'll be restarting it again later in the year. Again, email me, troy@realtroyfrancis.com, where we teach all of the fundamentals of this stuff. Men now, we need everything, okay? There is no place to hide, right? I heard somebody the other day being referred to as a rich dork. Okay, so the guy has money, he's wealthy, he's in a good place in his career, he's a bit of a dork. Okay, the sex appeal isn't there. That's a problem. It's a problem that maybe the woman can kind of disregard or put to one side for a period of time. She's like, okay, well, I'll let it ride, whatever. But in the end, a few things happen. He shows weakness in a few situations. The attraction, whatever it was, is completely gone. And then that guy gets cheated on, or he gets dumped, or he gets divorced, okay? So this is super, super key stuff. You need to understand these dynamics, and that's really what we're all about on this channel. So thank you very much for watching the video. If you've got any thoughts on this, put it in the comments below. Do subscribe to the channel, give me a like, and I'll see you guys again very soon. Bye.